Hello, today is the anniversary of the birth in 1923 of Alice Miller. She grew up in Poland but eventually emigrated to Switzerland and then to France. An eminent psychologist. Her best known book is The Drama of Being a Child, and she specialised in dealing with children, with adults really, who'd been abused as children, and developed techniques for helping and supporting them through their trauma. She broke faith with the prevailing ideology of Freud and Jung that psychoanalysis was the way to deal with such trauma. She felt that people had been for too long encouraged to deny their childhood traumas and to idolise their parents in a way that prevented them really getting in touch with what had actually happened. I'm afraid I haven't read enough about her to know exactly what her technique was, but one phrase that she uses struck me as really helpful in many situations and not just dealing with that kind of trauma. She talked about people being enlightened witnesses, that by tender, gentle care for people, by being with people, by really focusing on them, you can help them to find healing and, in her phrase, restore them to themselves. And incidentally, she implied that such a way of restoring people to themselves was a way of restoring the witness to themselves too. But I like this phrase because it describes, I think, a way that we could relate to people all the time, really. The idea of being a witness, the idea of, I like the phrase because it implies not just listening to people, not just being aware of what they're saying, but watching what they're doing, really seeing them, and really attending to them in such a way that we see who they are, and who they are becomes, in a sense, part of us. That's what witnessing is. And to be an enlightened witness, well, I think for her, she was implying that to be enlightened is not to be like she felt, I think probably wrongly, but like she felt many psychoanalysts and psychotherapists were, which was to try and control the patient, to help them, to guide them in ways that they thought were right for them, rather than letting the patient determine their way forward. And I think to be enlightened is really to allow the people that we're with to be themselves, so that as we witness them and help them to find themselves, so they can learn to be themselves and gain control over their own lives, and indeed find healing from all sorts of pains. More people suffer from child abuse than I think we're really aware of, but there are also other kinds of trauma too that we need healing from. And having someone who really attends to us, who really sees us, who is prepared just to be with us, not necessarily to say anything, can be enormously healing. And when we're able to do that for other people, I think we're being part of their healing process, as well as perhaps also part of our own. But just as a sort of PS, it struck me also that this idea of an enlightened witness is a very good description of what God is like for us. God looks at us, knows us, sees us fully, but isn't trying to control us, isn't telling us what we've got to do. God is letting us find our own way, seeking help and guidance from God, yes, of course, but free to be ourselves and to let free from within us the people that we really are.